So what if I was to tell you that there was a simple way of trading? And yes, I preach systems because systems is what has allowed me to trade full time, coach others, be present with the family, work out every day, read every day, and be peaceful. Yes, systems. And when you come across strategies, when you come across trading videos, there's either lifestyle stuff, as we know, and I mention that a lot because it's one of my pet hates, but more importantly, some complicated strategy that you need to look at the weekly, the daily, which way the bias, the turtle soup, and I mentioned that at a time, the discount, the premium, and all these types of things that by the time that you have actually figured out how to get into a trade, that trade has left you behind. Now, it's not to say that those things don't work. They do. But from experience, they put many off and they put me off for years and years and years. And I wanted it to be simple. I didn't really want to overthink before I got into a trade because of the emotional side of trading, which is on every other video that I ever speak about. But this trade recap today, I'm going to go over the current trade that we're in, and we were in this morning as a community, and then I'm going to go over two trades that were from last week, one from yesterday and one from last week that I think you will keep looking at. Now, the way that I trade and the way that I deliver things is straight to the point. It's not glammed up. It's not packaged. It's straight to the point, direct, and simple. And if you don't want to stick around for that, or you can't because you need to scroll or you need to look for the next fix or your dopamine hit, you're not cut out to be successful, and you're definitely not cut out to be a successful trader. And that is something that you will have to look at yourself. So instead of wasting any more time, let's get ready, get your notepad, and let's jump into how we traded today, yesterday, and last week. So as I mentioned, people, we're going to go over into the charts. But firstly, just to be transparent, this is the trade that locked in 4 on a combine, 387 on a combine, and 400 on a personal live account, well, a funded account. And then also we're looking for this short here. Looks like we're going to get stopped out, but we're banked a little 160 on that top step combine as well. So you can see there, we've taken this trade to this morning, no messing around. So what was the trade, you ask? What was the trade? So let me go and get a clean chart for you, all right, which is very, very important so you can see this. Now, first things first, I'm not going to go and say this is a 4 hour and you have to look at this and you have to look at that and blah, 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 and all that stuff. It's very, very simple the way that I trade. I use an indicator called Lux Sessions. On that Lux Sessions, I work out my Asia high and my Asia low. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this very, very clear for you. There was my Asia high coming into London. And then what we had a Sydney low. My Asia low, I look for a low just before London open. So you can see it does not cross over on my chart, even though it will cross over on your chart. My settings are to see the final before order filled. That's either stop loss or we've hit take profit. That's either I look for a swing of the Asia low or the Asia high going into London. Now, what we did have this morning was a swing swipe of the Sydney. Now, Tokyo is obviously part of Asia, but you can see just this wick here. If I take off this very, very good indicator of Lux Algo Sessions, you can see we had a sweep this morning. And what I look for is a very simple reversal pattern. And I look for this, and I'll change that into a black. I look for this pattern just here, and then I look for a potential retest and move to the upside. Now, we didn't get a retest. It happened just before London. So I knew that the risk was slightly higher. The probability was lower because what we want to see is some form of manipulation as London opens. But we got the manipulation just before London opened. So what we was then waiting for is I then actually went in earlier. But what you're waiting for is you're waiting for the buyers to show aggression. And that candle just there is aggression. If I zoom right in because someone said they want to see the charts, this one here that is blocked is aggression. The minute you get that aggression, the minute you're looking for areas to pull back. And where are we going to pull back? Well, if we have a look for prior here and here, this is where we're looking to get into the trade. And it's very, very simple. The minute that I see this from my key level, I get a shift. I want a retest for a good entry. So I've got good risk. And then I'm aiming to get to the top of this range. And that's exactly what happened this morning. I hate doing replay, but I'm going to do replay just for you. But I hate it because it's, fake trading and all that types of things. But it's very, very good for me to show you. There's my long position. There's my risk, what I'm looking for. There's my TP. I knew the daily open was in the way. I'm not going to mark that for now. And then we let that trade go, does what it needs to do, starts to mess around, and then actually hits that and goes higher. All right. Then there is another trade later on. We come back down, we move to the downside, etc. But that trade is what has banked a total of around about $2,000 this morning. All right. So perfect for the day. If I do that 3 or 4 times a week, you know the maths. It can be, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 a week. And most people want trying to get around about that $10,000 per month. So this is going to give you that idea of what you're looking for. Now, very, very simple way of trading. Now what I want to do is I want to show you another trade setup from, it feels like an eternity, all right? But it was only yesterday. And then I've got another trading setup for you after that. So as you can see, we come and sweep this high. Let me get my sessions on just so you can see the sessions, okay? There's no session plays here. But what we've got is this former high just here, all right? So let's get rid of the sessions. Now, this session high here was all-time high. This becomes the all-time high yesterday. What happens is then we get a free candle formation, my reversal pattern in here. I will highlight that again for you. It is the golden nugget. It is what makes me my money. The minute that we get that, we are then looking for our former all-time high to be resistance. Now, if you can see that, that is resistance. It is a no-brainer. Now, a couple of people in the community were a little bit hesitant. It chopped around at New York. But you pull a Fibonacci from the high to the low. You put your stops just above. There's my short. After I've got confirmation, I go there. And this was an absolute rally to the downside. Now, for me, I don't trade New York. You might go, why does he not trade New York? Because I prefer peace of mind in the afternoon to make sure I'm present for my family, for my wife, and for my children. So making money in the afternoon doesn't interest me because I can make my money in the morning. But there's plenty of people in the community who use exactly the same system as me, which is a precision stack, to get into trades. And that, my friends, was a beautiful sell-off. And if you stayed in that, you more than likely would have got a 10R. So what do you look for? A reversal pattern. Then you look for a Fibonacci retest under a major level, and then you ride that to the downside. So there's another one. Then finally, I want to show you, where were we? This trade that was happening last Wednesday. So a week ago today, and we caught the bottom here. We caught the bottom. This was the bottom. So what we had was a previous wick down here. We had a level. Can't remember the level, but we had level marked, which was down here. Let me highlight that for you in a nice olive green. There you go. So once we got that move to the downside, what did we then get? We then got our trusted candle formation. 1, 2, 3 shows me exactly what I'm doing. Let's get rid of that middle, just there. Once I get that, I'm then looking for a retest. My retest was this zone. Very, very simple. I then move my long side. There's my entry. There's my stop. There's my first TP. And as you can see, this rallied for the whole of the day. And I left thousands and thousands, and I'm talking thousands, on the table because it ran up all the way till the close. We're talking thousands and thousands. But how it works is you wait for a key level, you wait for a reversal pattern, you look at your book map. I'm not going to go over that right now. And then you look for your pullback to get into the trade. You don't need to look at, well, what happened on the weekly? What happened on the daily? This is the daily bias. This is this. You're trading from session highs, session lows, previous daily highs, and previous daily lows. Now, these trade recaps will be the same strategy every single week because I trade one strategy, not the trend strategy in relation to, not the trend, in relation to whatever's trending, whether it's the orb 1 week or whether it's this 1 week, just to get views or whatever it may be. I do not care whether these views get 1 view or 1 million views. What I care about is, do you find value from what we put onto the internet? Now, if you want any help with this and the way that we work, you know there is a link below. We can only work with a certain amount of people. We've now launched a group version if you want to get in our content and then have calls with us. You also get our personal Discord, and you can personally speak with me as well. So if you want any help with your trading, whether you're brand new, or whether you just can't get consistent and you can't get those payouts from prop firms, hit the link below and I'll see you on the next one.